For the first talk for the session 2, we have Gaurav here doing a talk on RapidDoc. Let's begin the talk and we start with a huge round of applause.
Um, how many of you like problems in life? Real problems? Raise your hands. I love problems. I want to be surrounded by problems. Great. And then how many of you like documentation? Okay, I see less hands raised. So that's why we need to talk. I'm here exactly for that reason. I want you to love documentation, and I want you, the developers, the teams here, to have that power so that you can present good, great, best documentation to ultimately help the user. And I think since very less people raise hands, so many of them might be feeling sleepy. So I just hope if you sleep, dream about documentation. That's the only thing I require. Okay, let's start. So in next 15 minutes, I'll be covering what is this tool, the RapidDoc, why I have worked on this tool. I'll have a demo, and then we will see the future. And at the end, I'll take questions if you have any. And I can assure you that once you see the real capabilities of this tool, you will be amazed like what we can do with the traditional Python structures and the AI stuff that we have been listening since last 2 days. I'm sure that you might have got overwhelmed. If not, this talk will make it sure that you get overwhelmed. Okay, so my name is Gaurav and I work at Red Hat as a principal technical writer. It's been a good 6 years there. And yeah, that's about me. I don't want to advertise myself. I will do that at last. Okay, so let's talk about the problems that many documentation team and the development teams, including SMEs, software, product managers, program managers, experience day in and day out related to documentation. So what are those problems? They're basically, this is not working, I guess. Okay, it all came right inside. This is how you get overwhelmed, right? To see all the data at once. So in your documentation, you have inconsistent voice. Like you do not know the target persona. If you know, somehow it does not reflect in your docs, whether it's a sysadmin, cluster administrator, who is the target audience? And your inconsistent voice, like addressing everyone as you, wherein you should be specific, who is the user. And then you send the docs for review. Basically, be it developers or product managers, program managers, you send the documentation for multiple reviews. And those reviews are subjective because once you send the docs, and it depends ultimately on the person's mood. If he is in a good mood, the person is in a good mood. Okay, this is incorrect, that is correct, this, that. If the person is not in a good mood, okay, I have raised a PR for review, approved. We will see when there is an escalation. And then there are hidden risks as well. There are certain words which we should not use in the documentation. Sometimes we try to add real data, real system data in our documentations when it should be test data. And then on top of it, we use linters because most of us follow this code as doc or doc as code. So we use linters. So most linters fail in this approach. So end result is you slow down the content delivery, time to market increases, and there is an inconsistency in the documentation, which ultimately hampers user experience. And that is what we all vouch for, like to enhance the user experience so that it reduces support costs, and ultimately the money is saved. So I would like to ask, like, if this is the problem, what would be the solution that you can think of? What could be the solution? Anyone? Raise your hands or just speak out loud. Please.
So we do like we set up a commit hook So whenever you're documenting something, uh, Copilot, based on your ticket and whatever the context it has available, it has to take the first stab at it in the documentation. And what we have felt, when you give a developer the blank canvas to start with the documentation, they more often than not don't want to do it, right? But if someone has already taken a first stab, and when in the commit hook you're trying to ask the user, hey, does this look correct, you have a better chance of they trying to pay more attention and trying to do it. So that's like one thing that we are ourselves are trying to do, and could be a solution.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And yes, this is exactly what I thought. Why not use existing LLMs, the grammar tools, the linters which are available? But there is a good catch over there. And most of us ignore. I'll talk about the catches and other stuff later in the slides. But this is the exact thing that I thought of, to use the LLMs as is and get a certain kind of output. So the solution that I developed is this RapidDoc. It is an AI-powered content editorial assistant which can edit your docs, can provide you contextual information. It is sensitive to each and everything. Like it knows it's a API doc, it knows it's a user guide or help doc, or the codes. It can read through the codes, and it can provide you the content, like what is missing from your docs. So it can read through the code, it can read inline comments, and will let you know that whether that comment is exactly needed, or do we need to update that inline comment. So what I use natural language processing libraries, to be precise, Spacey, and there is one more. And then I used AI, I combined AI as well, and the end result was this RapidDoc. You can scale it as much as you want. It is highly customizable, and the best thing is it gives you consistent doc. There is a kind of a consistency in your documentation, and it has those human emotions. Because if you ask AI to write something, it would be dry. It would lack those emotions. But this thing, it gives what you need, not just paraphrases your entire sentences to something else. Now let's talk about the comparison. Like, why not use LLMs directly? Why to use this RapidDoc for documentation, editorial assistant? So let's see. The first one is, okay, now again, I think everything will be visible on screen at once. Okay. So lack of specificity. So what happens, these LLMs do not know your style guides. So basically, every other organization has its own style guide, which they adhere to, and it addresses their legal aspects, it adheres to their customer base, and other things. So in our organization, we follow IBM manual style of technical writing. So in this case, if you ask an LLM, do you know about our style guide? It will say, yes, it knows. Can you follow 100% end-to-end? No, I cannot follow. That will be the exact answer that any of the large language models will give you. Then, okay, now it is overwhelming me. I thought you people will get overwhelmed. Come on. Okay. Thank you. So what happens? There is a hallucination risk. So when you use your LLMs, after a certain point, it starts repeating the last answer in a different format. Over here, it's deterministic. It knows what you are asking, and it goes through the rules over and over again to give you the same kind of output. And then inconsistency is over here. Same question. If you ask an LLM, I will get a different. You will get a different answer. If I ask it, I'll get a different answer. But with this tool, there will be a consistent approach. And then the structures. Most LLMs or grammatical tools or the linters which are available in the market, they do not know ASCII doc end-to-end. They do not know how to process the code blocks, to read through the comments and tell you whether it aligns what you want to say. And basically, the RapidDoc is contextually aware. So it knows the context. It knows what to process, when to process, and how to process. And finally, like if you ask LLM to follow your style guide, it may do, may not do, you cannot audit the end result because there is no way to check the logs or which rules have been followed, which rules are missed. But this thing, it is highly customizable. If you can audit the end results, it will follow 100% your branding and style guidelines, no matter what you use, IBM, Microsoft manual style of technical writing, or anything basically. If you are into in Google, they follow, I guess, Google Developer Documentation Guide. So it is highly recognizable, customizable. And to be precise, there is a story to it. I did not build this thing out of thin air. There was a whole lot of research. I at first tried to train a small model, not so small, flan-ts-base on Google Colab. I manually prepared datasets using, I mean to say, like synthetic datasets using LLMs and other channels. So this is how the dataset I prepared. This is just an example. So there was a prompt, then there was an input, and there was a output. Then I went to this Google Notebook LM. Sorry, not no, this Colab, Google Colab, and therein I used transformers, uploaded the dataset, tokenizers, and other stuff, and finally trained the model and pushed to Git Hugging Face. The thing is, this way, I was training one model per rule. So there are over 150 odd rules in the style guides. So if you train one model for a rule and you need a large data set, there is a concern around scalability, like how scalable the solution can be. So this was the initial approach. So each rule set required a new data set. And finally, like the data set has to be of quality, because if your data set lacks quality, it means that the end result would not be what you need. And then hard to audit, like because you do not know. You can't check the logs and other stuff, what it missed, what it adhered to. So hard to audit was one of the problems. And then there are certain rules which overlap and which requires decision-making process by a human mind. So then again, if you train a model on one rule, you train a model on a different rule, it basically, sometimes there will be a situation wherein they overlap, and then how to choose between one of the answers, then again, you have to experience that. And then there were many models, like I said in my first bullet. So the new way was to use this natural language processing and the AI capabilities. So the front layer, I used Python and Flask for this. So the front layer was made by a Flask. Why Flask? Because I know Flask. And it offers real-time analysis. And then there is a core analysis engine, which basically uses pure morphological format by Encore Web SM. So I have used that model, English language model. And then there is a validation layer in between, which validates and gives confidence scores. So it's not like everything is hard-coded. There are multiple pipelines, and they check on multiple parameters whether the errors which got generated is good or bad, or like the percentage gets assigned to each errors. And then there is a feedback mechanism. Like once a discrepancy is displayed on the screen, you get the feedback, thumbs up and thumbs down. And this feedback mechanism basically uses at the back end some kind of machine learning, which is in progress, which will automatically tweak the rules to ensure that only good errors are displayed on the screen and false positives get removed. And then there is at last a AI processing layer. Not last, this is the second last one, AI processing layer, which offers you the capability to rewrite the entire sentence to address all the errors that you have received and correct it at one go. And this will help in the dataset as well. Like the incorrect thing would be found by the spacey, and the correct thing I will get from this AI rewrite. So I will be preparing a dataset again automatically. There will be some manual efforts, but yeah, there will be dataset creation. And then finally, my first aim was to train the model. So I hope that I'll continue doing that. But yeah, the user journey currently is user comes, They enter a text input, whether in Markdown structure, ASCII doc, or like data, or simple plain English. You can paste HTML. So it supports every kind of format that is known to humankind. And then there is a parser which detects what kind of structure has been pasted or used or uploaded. And then there is a natural language processing layer. So the rule engine fits here. It has multiple layers to it, like there is an ambiguity detector, style analyzer, and consolidator. So there are multiple rules which overlap. So this error consolidator basically ensures that you do not get multiple same errors on the screen. So it consolidates, it gives scoring, and only displays the relevant errors on the screen. And finally, you get results. And along with the results, it gives you analysis report. So what happens, it tells you where you lack, how you can improve, and other executive summaries. And then there is the AI layer, which I have already talked about. Like you can click a button to rewrite the entire stuff. So this is, I'm going to show you a demo, and if you want to access the source code, so here is a simple QR code, and you can directly access the source code. It is hosted on GitHub. So this is my repository. And all I need to do is run Python main.py. I hope it's main. Okay. And it will, basically, there is a virtual environment, and it will load everything. It will check whether what is working, what is not working. Every rule gets checked, and only the link to access the application gets displayed. And this is how it looks in the UI. Just a sec. So let me refresh it. So this is what you get. Like you want to review product documentation. You want to, like, you may all organizations have their own marketing team, sales team. They can basically review their blogs or marketing content or other kind of content. So it basically provides every team or every team who is creating content some kind of interface to compare to. So all I need to do is go to this review product content, and it will give this input method wherein you can add your content or you can upload. So once you add your content, let me show you a file. Actually, I'm using Fedora, so I'm not sure what is happening with this screen share. So I have a ASCII doctor from a file in a ASCII doctor format. And I'll be pasting it over here. So this is how engineers or developers write their documentation, or any technical writer who follows Markdown or ASCII doc. They basically write this way. And all you need to do now is go to analyze content, and it will start its analysis. It will take some time to parse through the documentation, and it will finally give you all the errors. So this is how the errors get displayed. This is okay, so as you can see, it has correctly recognized the blocks like paragraph, ambiguity errors. So I deliberately choose a content piece which has all sorts of errors in it. So this is how it displays, and if there are multiple issues, it will display all the issues at once. And it gives these scores as well. Like you can see, there are 95% critical, 80% error, 95% critical. So it categorizes between errors. Like it gives you that freedom to choose what you want to address and what you want to escape. So anything which is above 70%, you have to address it. Anything which is below 70%, it gives you like a suggestion or a warning. And it's up to you whether you want to address it or not. And finally, it gives you this writing analytics. So this writing analytics, as you can see, it offers you readability scores, real-time readability scores. and then the writing quality, and then how modular your documentation is, like whether it can be easily digested by AI or LLM. So basically, it gives you a score as well. So any of the docs that we are preparing, we are trying to ensure that the ratio or the percentage is above 90%. And then the timing, how much it took to process this thing. And finally, you can generate a report as well, which is very informative. And all you need to do is download it and start accessing. So it gives you the report, and it offers the critical insights, like the grade level. So any documentation which we prepare, or developers, or anyone who prepares, the content team, basically it should adhere to a standard that it should be readable and understandable by anyone who is in standard 10th or 9th. Anything above that, if they are not understanding, it's a piece of information that you want to edit or update. So this is how the product looks. And so this was the sweet demo, short one. There is multiple things which are happening at the background. So the thing is, it supports all documentation formats. It provides real-time reviews, and everything is scalable, modular, and you can customize it as per your needs. And it can integrate with almost anything, any of the rules, or there's a separate rule directory. Just go ahead and update it, and you can basically enhance its capacity. And then there is one-click AI rewrite button, and everything is happening locally, even if you are using, if you host it, and if you use a model which has been developed by your organization or your API, anything basically. So it is all which is local to your systems. And what I'm trying to do with this tool in the future, I'll be updating the machine learning concepts that I'm learning. Whenever there is a feedback, that is automatically taken care of by the system. I do not have to basically go ahead and update the rules every now and then. And then dataset generation. So I want to generate a good gold quality standard dataset, and multilingual support. And finally, what I'm planning to do is offer some CI/CD integration, so that whenever a PR or MR is generated for a documentation update for a code, there is a bot which runs automatically and gives you the suggestions. So that's the future. And yeah, in case you have any questions, please let me know. I'll happy to answer. And I hope you got overwhelmed. Okay, you can catch me outside. So this is, you can connect me, or you can read my blogs on beantechnicalwriter.com. Thank you. Thank you so much.